her Ph.D. in industrial organizational psychology. Her passion is teaching and sharing information and resources to help people realize their dreams and lead richer, fuller, and immensely satisfying lives. She is also an avid animal rescuer for the last 10 years, and please welcome Dr. Lauren Keith. Let's see. Okay. I can move it. There you go.
Hi, good evening. Here, I'll stand on this side.
Good evening, Lauren.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? I'm going to set my timer up because I have a notorious habit of completely losing track of time when I speak because I have so much fun with it. So I will start my own timer so that Linda doesn't have to flag me off the stage. I know, she'll keep me on track, right? So my goal with you this evening is a little different perhaps than what you're used to. I want to help you tap into the world of possibilities. We have a tendency as a species, if you will, to think a little too small. When we start to think about what we can have, we think in terms of what we think we can get. And I want you to think bigger than that. There are infinite possibilities in this world, and when you start thinking about your dreams, I don't want you to think small. I want you to think big. I want it to even make you a little uncomfortable. Because the real magic in this world happens when we push ourselves outside of where we're most comfortable. And this happened to me a while ago, actually. I was getting a little complacent in my life. I was pretty comfortable. I had a good life. But when I look back at it now, I realized I was kind of bored. And so life likes to throw curveballs, and it threw me a curveball, and I won't get into that, but that process is really what led me to where I am now, getting much more involved in volunteering. I volunteer for a wonderful cat rescue group, have been doing that for about 11 years, and my nonprofit calling, if you will, is going to be to start a sanctuary for what I call the throwaway animals. The ones that are too sick, or too old, or just too difficult, or have become inconvenient because the new baby came, or I just got too busy. People that just seem to think of these living and breathing things as expendable. I want them to have somewhere to go. And so that's kind of big. I mean, I'm talking about a big sanctuary. I'm not talking about a couple of cats in my backyard. So I'm talking big. So that's the process that I'm working on. And what I want to do with you today is an exercise that helped me get to that answer. Until about 2 years ago, I had never thought of doing a sanctuary. Sanctuary, I do a cat rescue. I do cat rescue. I take care of cats. It's great. But as I really did this exercise one day, it came to me that I really wanted to do something a lot bigger. So what we're going to do is a meditation where we're going to talk to our future self and find out what guidance our future self has for us on what we really believe our calling is. So if I can get everybody to take a deep breath in with me. I'm going to take one more. If you like to close your eyes, please feel free to do that. I want you to get into a very comfortable position. Again, close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And begin by focusing your awareness on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathing in easily and effortlessly. Breathing out. Each breath allowing you to become more relaxed and more comfortable. Any outside sounds only allow us to go deeper inside. A reminder of how good it is to leave the noise and the stress of the outside world and journey into the quiet and peace of your inner world. As you allow yourself to go deeper into a state of relaxation, perhaps you can remember a time when you stood before a pond or a lake and it was very quiet and peaceful. You may have tossed a pebble into the center and noticed the ripples spreading outward. One ripple after another, flowing outward, farther and farther. The ripples slowed down, became further apart, and the water was once again calm and peaceful. I invite you now to imagine that your body is like that body of water. As you drop a pebble into the center of your body, you can feel ripples of relaxation rippling out, waves of relaxation flowing through your body, up through your torso, into your chest and your back, up through your vertebrae, spreading out into each and every muscle of your back, through your shoulders, through your arms, up through your neck, into your jaw, through your face and your scalp. Feeling those ripples relax you as your muscles let go and become soft and loose. Feeling the ripples of relaxation flow down through the bottom of your torso. Flow through your abdomen, through your pelvis, down through your thighs, your calves, your ankles, through your feet and out your toes. Know that each time you drop a pebble into the center of your body, you can become more and more relaxed. Now bring your attention to the spot between your eyes, your third eye. Imagine a light there. What color is the light between your eyes? Imagine that light becoming a beam extending out into space. You're going to follow that beam of light as it leaves this building, as it travels above the city, as it continues out, so that you can view the entire world. Keep following it further and further into outer space. Notice the curvature of the earth. As you keep going further and further, you find yourself enveloped by the softness and quiet of space. Allow yourself to enjoy this perspective for a moment. Now notice another beam of light very near to you, a different color from the one you followed into space. Begin to follow that beam of light back down to Earth. That beam is taking you back to Earth 20 years from now. 20 years into the future. Keep following this beam down, noticing again the curvature of the Earth and the geography stretching out below you. As you come closer to the end of the beam, keep noticing where you are. This is where your future self lives. You, 20 years from now. Come gently into contact with the earth and notice again, where have you landed? Move to the dwelling of your future self. You know the way. You've been here before. Your future self is waiting for you, waiting to talk with you. As your future self greets you, notice what it is like being with this person again. Look around you. Drink up the environment. This is your opportunity to ask whatever questions you would like of your future self. You might want to know what's your next step, who you need to be right now in order to move forward. Ask your future self any question that feels right to you. And then take a moment to listen to your future self's response. I invite you to take a deep breath in. And allow yourself to step into the being of your future self. Allow yourself to merge into that person's body. Experience what it feels like to be this future self. Be aware of how this feels, of how good it feels in your future self's body. What does the world look like through your future self's eyes? Walk around. Feel yourself move as your future self. Notice if there's any one particular place in your body where you feel your future self's power most strongly. This is the power of being your future self. Allow that feeling to expand, filling your whole body into your very cells. Remember that place where you feel that power, and you may want to touch that place on your body now in order to anchor that feeling. And know that whenever you wish to connect with your future self, you can touch that place on your body and bring forth these powerful positive feelings. When you touch that place, these feelings and this experience will flood your body easily and effortlessly. Looking out through your future self's eyes, look back at your present day self. What do you notice about your present day self? Looking out through your future self's eyes, what would you want to tell your present day self? Taking another deep breath in. We'll shift our awareness back to becoming your present day self again and being fully present in the body of your present day self. As you look back at your future self, notice that this person has a gift for you, a special gift to remind you of who you are becoming and what you are moving toward. As your future self offers you that gift, ask if there's any meaning to it. Is there anything you need to know about it? It's time to leave now. Thank your future self for the wisdom. From now on, your future self will be an inner resource you can use whenever you need to do so. Whenever you seek guidance, whenever you need to know what your next step should be, you can contact your future self, a powerful ally and resource for you. Say goodbye now, knowing that you will remember everything you need to know from this visit. Find your way back to the beam of light and journey back up the beam, watching this world of 20 years in the future grow ever smaller as you move back out into space. Again, you see the earth below you, clouds swirling around it. Your beam of light has intersected with the first beam of light that will bring you back to this year and this location. Follow this beam of light back to present time Earth. As you travel down the beam, notice the earth growing larger. Notice the geography of the area, the skyline, the landscape, and finally, back into the room here. In a few moments, I will count down from 3 to 1. At the count of 1, you will be refreshed and alert, as if you've had the perfect amount of rest, knowing you can remember everything you wish of this inner journey. 3, coming back now, coming back to present time, becoming more alert and refreshed. 2, stretching your body, feeling the ground beneath you. And 1, eyes open, refreshed and alert. Deep breath. Okay, did anyone get any particularly interesting messages from their future self they're willing to share?
I reminded myself that I need to make sure I have
Prioritizing exercise. All work and no play, right? Absolutely. Well, you could make exercise fall into play. Maybe that would make it happen more. Yes.
Reminding myself to always push myself towards a higher education.
Keep pushing yourself. Fabulous. Anybody else?
Undying support.
I'm sorry? Undying support?
Undying support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else? Yes. Hard work and discipline. That's a good point. You know, we talk a lot about our passion and what we would love to do, but as Linda mentioned earlier, it takes action to make that happen, right? Absolutely. Linda.
Mine is that I know I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I know I am.
Absolutely. And that's a great thing that the future self can tell you, is confirm for you, yes, you are on the right path. Absolutely. That's how the sanctuary came to me. I went to visit my future self, and when I asked her what I was doing, hey, what have you been up to? I said, well, I'm running the cat sanctuary. Duh. Cat sanctuary? That's an awful lot of work. But it is, once I heard it, once it came to me, it was obvious. It was just very obvious. So connecting with your future self, that's how I got clarity on what my calling was for my giving back, my nonprofit. But it can give you clarity in a lot of things, not just your nonprofit. Trusting your intuition. I mean, your future self can come to you in different ways of intuition as well. So we really want to learn to pay attention to the possibilities. Because again, what my future self told me was much bigger than what I had ever imagined for myself to that point. But it made sense. So a lot of times we put limitations on ourselves. Does anybody have anything they're willing to share regarding some dream they have, some vision, that they know they're putting some limitation on? Yes?
Well, I got some, I'm trying to find my over siblings who were adopted by separate families.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find a few others that are trying to cut down. And I think I'm putting my limitations on myself to be able to use more of what I'm doing. I was able to find a lead recently that we're pursuing it also. And I'll be able to find it with that sibling.
Wonderful. Won't that be amazing? Absolutely. You know, it'd be very easy to say, how am I going to do that? How am I going to find them? How is that? I'm not going to be able to do that. But there's so many resources. And it's like pulling a thread. You start pulling it and it starts to unravel, and all of a sudden more and more things will become apparent to you. So sometimes it's just taking that first step, as you mentioned. You know, how do you get from here to there? One step at a time, right? I don't have the ability, if I want to get to the door, I don't have the ability to leap through the air. I have a heckler. To leap through the air and just be at the door. I can't physically do that. How do I get there? I get there one step at a time. So we'll talk a lot about just keeping going. And there's days that that's easy, right? And there's days that's not easy. There's days you're just like, God, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Well, that's really the key. When you think about what you want, what you really, really want, and I mean, it lights you up. When you talk about it, people can see it and they can hear it. It lights you up. So when you talk about what you want and you're connected to why you want it, don't worry about the how. We get stuck in the how. How am I going to make this happen? Don't worry about the how. The how will work itself out when you know what you want and why. That emotional connection. I coach people, you know, in and out every day. And I spoke to a young woman this morning, actually. And there's really not a lot I can do for her right now because she has no idea what she wants. I guess at some point I could try to help her connect to that what. But every time she described to me what she was working on, There was just no energy in her voice. It was all the same. It was all flat. And I always know when I'm talking to people when I've hit on the what, because you feel it. Through the phone, you feel it. Their voice changes. Their energy changes. There was no change for her. So my recommendation with her was to find that connection. She says, I get bored. Well, you get bored because you're not connected. When you're really connected to something, do you get bored? I haven't seen you be bored. Anybody else get bored with what they think their calling is? No, so you've got to get that connection. What else is anything that might be holding you back? Plenty. Yourself. In what way? You can be down on yourself. We sometimes don't give ourselves credit. I'll be right with you. We don't always give ourselves credit, right? We say, oh, I can't do that. Who am I? Who am I to say I could do that? I say ask it the other way. Who am I not to? We are children of the universe. We are children of God. We are children of whatever it is that sounds right for you. Who are we not to? Our best gift to this world, the best way that we serve, is to be the best us we can be. That's how we do it. Ah, yes, the baggage of the past comes into the present. I'll tell you a very, very, very quick story about 2 monks walking along a riverbank. And they had made a vow of chastity, a very strict vow where they were never even supposed to touch a woman. And along the riverbank, they came across a woman crying hysterically because the waters had risen and her child was on the other side and she was too afraid to cross. And so one of the monks, big, strong, hiking through the mountains kind of monk that he'd been, he picked her up, carried her through the water, set her down on the other side, and came back. And he and his friend kept walking. And 2 hours later, his friend says, I can't believe that you broke your vow and you touched that woman. And his friend looks back at him and says, I set her down 2 hours ago. You're still carrying her. So we tend to drag the past along with us like a knapsack. The value of the past is what can we learn from it? How do we learn from it to keep moving? If we're dragging it with us, it's making it harder for us to keep moving. Be willing to put it down. Take the message that you learned and the lesson, put it down. Keep moving. What else is getting in anybody's way? Fear of what? Fear of failure. Or fear of success, okay. What is failure? What is it? It's feedback, right? It's, okay, that didn't work. We need to try something else. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It doesn't mean what you did was wrong. It just means you didn't quite find the right way to go about it yet. So it gave you information to adjust. Somebody asked Edison how did he keep going in the face of how many failures he had trying to design and invent the light bulb. He said, I didn't have any failures. I had a lot of feedback. A lot of feedback. Yes, sir.
You know, I've been learning that successful people focus and program their subconscious mind that work 24 hours a day, solving problems and figuring out different ways to achieve the goal. I think a lot of us are not depending on that power of our mind. So that's how to focus and learn more mind.
That's very accurate. We do not tap into the power of our own minds nearly to the extent that we can. How many people have a smartphone? How many people of you know how to make it do everything it knows how to do? Right? Not even close. The younger ones will probably know more than the rest of us, but it does a lot more. Well, the same with our minds. Our minds are able to do a lot more than we give them credit for. Sometimes it's just a question of listening, being open to the intuition or the messages that come to us. Our ability to hear our intuition is as good as our willingness to listen. It's a very interesting statement. I had to hear that a couple of times. Our ability to hear our intuition is as good as our willingness to listen. Our intuition talks to us all the time. Most of the time we are not paying attention. So that tapping into our minds, being willing to have it work for us. Our subconscious is working for us all the time. And it goes based off of what we feed to it. So if we feed it things like, who am I to have that? I might fail. I might succeed. Ugh, equally scary. That's too hard. That's too big. Then it's going to shrink down and be small. But if we ask it better questions, how can I? What if it were possible? What would I do with this situation if I knew I could not fail? Start asking different questions. The intuition will start bringing you different answers. So rather than being worried, how am I going to make all of the bills this month? How am I going to pay all my bills this month? That's a very small question. It comes from a very significant space of lack. What if we were to ask instead, how can I make this month my most profitable month ever? Do you think you might get different answers to that question? The intuition might come up with some more possibilities. I'm going back to Thomas Edison for a minute. He used to talk about the land of possibilities. And he referred to that as a space kind of right between being awake and falling asleep, where you get very suggestible. So what he would do is sit in a rocking chair on his front porch, and he would hold a rock in his hand, and he had a bucket right below his hand, and he would rock, and he would try to get into that suggestible state. But he didn't want to fall asleep, because then he's not thinking anymore. So if he fell asleep, his hand would drop the rock, and it would land in the tin bucket, and it would wake him back up. So he would find some of his best ideas in that space. So a lot of times it's good to ask yourself right before you're going to go to bed, an interesting question. How could I, whatever your question is, what if I could? How could I? What if it were possible? What if I could not fail? And let your mind play with that. Sometimes you'll even wake up with an idea, even if you do fall asleep. But be willing to listen to that intuition. Did anybody come up with any new thoughts in their discussion with their future self? Or does everybody have an idea of what their calling might be? Everybody know exactly what step to take next? I want to do one more exercise with you. And you can do it in either pairs or trios, whichever you prefer. Oh, you know exactly what to do next?
Well, one of the things I wrote down was to reach out to people that have offered help.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is an action in my next.
Wonderful.
I have somebody offer their husband to help people out there. They can work for the 501c3 that I have.
Great.
An animal advocacy seminar that was put on by the Home Woodley Center back
Mhm.
in January, and now it's going into March. So
Mhm.
I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Wonderful.
If they're not going to help me anymore, then I'll just go to the next thing.
Sure. Absolutely. You got to keep going. Linda's on it. Accountability is good. So what I want you to do is in either person behind you or next to you, whatever, either twos or threes, I want you to talk with each other. You're going to each have a turn. So whoever goes first, I want you to very briefly put out there what your issue is, what you're not sure what to do next, or what you're looking for, any resources or help around. And then your job literally is to zip it and to write down everything that your colleagues come up with for you. And the analogy here is if you think of pumping water from a well, right? The very first water that comes out of that well, how's that water? It's kind of little, right? But once you get the pump going, some of the other ideas will come out, will be beautiful. So I don't want you to discount any ideas. We don't want to be what I call a yeah-butter. Yeah, but, let's put that on hold, okay? So no judgment on any of the ideas that anyone offers to you. You just write them all down. Some of them, they might not be so good. It's okay. Some of them might be pure gold. So I want you to spend just a little bit of time with a couple of your colleagues, very briefly put out your idea, and then they'll have about a minute to give you ideas on your particular situation. Then we're going to go switch. So ideally, if you can be in threes, that's how I've timed it. If you don't have a third, we'll work it out. But go ahead and decide who's going to go first. Put out your idea and see what resources they can give you.
Alrighty. So my idea of what I want to do is I want to empower the individual and job on environmental for global warming, sustainability, and space exploration. And I want to work with for-profit social businesses and help them to sell their products that will encourage.
Okay, you have about 30 seconds to explain your issue, and then they'll have a minute to give you as many ideas as they can give you. So go ahead and move into your ideas. Start giving ideas.
So they're all going to be for-profit because I think that's like the best way to make a difference. So if I can sell more products, then we will make a bigger difference.
That's a great idea because if you reach out to more individuals, you can reach out to their and when I can do it, well, I feel like it'd be really helpful to see aspect of it more because, for example, you come up with a better idea and
Okay, 30 more seconds for first person. 30 seconds.
At the moment, but I haven't moved to for-profit environmental business. They're still my
Okay, person number one, thank your colleagues for their ideas. And person number two, get ready to share your idea. Not long enough? Well, I know this could go on for a half hour. It's just to get you started. So person number two, share your idea.
so obviously basically empower our young people to make issues but it needs to be just versus image policy and ignore that and it's like
Okay, 2 minutes to share your ideas. 2 more minutes. Okay, 30 more seconds. Okay, person number 2, thank your colleagues for their input. And person number 3, get ready. Person number 3, the one person who has not yet shared, go ahead and share your vision to your colleagues. Okay, offer up your ideas for person number 3. Okay, 30 more seconds to share with person number 3. Okay, let's wrap up our discussions. Thank your colleagues for their ideas. If we can get everybody back together. Lots of good energy going on. That's true. I'm eavesdropping. All right. How many people got at least one good idea they think they can implement? At least one good idea you think you can take and implement? You guys got no good ideas? All right, now this is kind of exercise that could go on for quite a while, as you can imagine. So I'm trying to stimulate the idea that you can get together with people, either people that you know or people that you don't know, as we did tonight, and get some really interesting ideas. So take advantage of this idea. When you go other places and you start to have conversations with people, just start putting some things out there. Say, you know, I'm kind of struggling with this. Do you have any ideas? You never know where that next great idea will come from. Did anybody catch themselves doing a yeah, but? Yeah, so a limiter. Just, yep. Yeah. We do it very subconsciously sometimes. I've done it. The last time I did this exercise, I got busted for doing a yeah, but. So we do it sometimes without thinking. And so that's why I ask the person who has put out the idea to, at that point, really, other than for clarification, You don't start qualifying anything, because you never know what that next great idea will be. I have one other quick story to share with you that illustrates this, I think, quite humorously. And it's about a third-generation barber who is running his barber shop, but with all of the new low-cost hair places that have come up, he's looking at being the first person in his line of barbers to have the shop fail. And he's very stressed out and upset about this. And his son comes home from college, and he says, "Hey, what's going on? You seem really stressed. What's happening?" He says, "I just think that I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going bankrupt. I'm going to lose the business." And he said, "Well, let's just sit down and throw out some ideas." Okay, and so one of the options is shutting the shop, right? That's one option. What are some other options? And they threw a whole bunch of things out. And at the end of their conversation, they hit on one, and they're like, "Really? I mean, really? This we're going to try this?" And I said, "Yeah, let's try it." So they implemented this one idea. And when the son called home about a month later and asked his father, "How's it going?" he said, "I am having the best month ever in this business. Ever." Do you want to know what their one idea was? They put a big sign on the top of their building that says, "We fix $6 haircuts." Right? So they did really well with that. Okay, Linda's telling me I don't have that much time left. So the purpose of an exercise like what we just did is really to come up with, what is one thing I can do today? The one thing that you said you would follow up on tomorrow. But every day, ask yourself, what is one thing I can commit to doing today that will help me take that step towards my vision or my dream? And if you can break it down like that, you're going to start to make a lot more progress. You are an infinitely powerful being. We don't give ourselves credit for that kind of power, honestly. We have the ability, just like this phone over here that we don't take advantage of, we have the ability to do absolutely incredible things. We've all known of people that have done incredible things, right? Were they any different? The only difference was they were willing to try. They were willing to dream. And they were willing to risk. They were willing to fall down. It's not about how many times you fall down. What is it? How many times you get back up. So I heard somebody the other day, I'm blanking on who it was, but it was somebody that had written a book. And he said he was turned down, actually it was Greg, I think, Linda, who said wasn't he turned down by like 200 and something publishers first? I mean, you got to keep going. You just have to keep trying. If this is really what you believe is right for you, don't let anybody else tell you it's not. It's what's right for you. Believe me, I have a lot of people, when I say I want to rescue cats, a lot of them, they're like, "Really? You're going to be the crazy cat lady?" And I'm like, "Oh, no. I already am the crazy cat lady, okay? I embrace that. That feels right for me. So I don't care who looks at that and goes, "Oh, that's kind of weird." That's okay. I might think what you're doing is a little weird. Who cares? If it feels right to you, what can you do to make that happen? So again, as I mentioned earlier, the best way to serve God and other people is being the best you that you can be. So when you think about what you want out of life, liken it to being willing to sign your name to the back of your check. You have to be willing to sign your name to the check, or the universe will not be able to cash it for you. The same as if you go into a bank, they will not cash your check for you until you've signed it, no matter how much you beg and plead for them to do so. You have to sign it. You have to own it. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and say, "This is who I am. This is my gift. This is my contribution to the world." So I want to do one other just very quick exercise with you to wrap this up. Kind of bringing it a little bit back full circle. Take another deep breath with me. I want you to imagine the feeling of being completely and totally loved. Like a parent loves a child, like you love your dearest friend. Since there's so many animal lovers, perhaps how you love your pet. But that deep, unconditional love. Completely unconditionally. I want you to notice how good it feels to feel all of that love. Pure love, no matter what. You don't have to do anything to get it. Just the fact that you're alive, that you're a child of God and of this universe, you are loved. It's your birthright. You're getting all this love from the whole world. You feel supported and valued. You are amazing. You are beautiful. All of this infinite love exists inside of you. You're totally healthy, and you can feel the energy coursing through your body. It's pristine and powerful. In spite of anything that pops into your head that tries to suggest otherwise, remember this is your true self. And this self is truly, infinitely, and deeply loved by the universe. We swim in oceans of abundance. Everyone here has a passion for making a difference in other people's lives and in our own lives. And you have all you need to be able to do that, to make that difference. Anything you could need is yours. Life is beautiful. Life is magical. You are infinitely powerful. Any challenge that comes up, you can face it. You can handle it. You're infinitely creative and resourceful. Take another deep breath with me. I want you to put your hand over your heart and just tap 3 times. All you need is here in your heart. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you and for you. Take it upon yourself to get what is right for you, and know that everyone else has the right and the ability to do the same. Feeling your infinite power, tap your heart again 3 times. I'm going to say a few phrases and I want you to repeat them after me. I am loved, deeply loved. I am swimming in oceans of abundance. I am infinitely powerful. I create great abundance by being of profound service. I'll do that one more time. I will do it in half and half. I create great abundance by being of profound service. I choose my dream. I choose to be my best self. This is my gift to the world. Tap 3 more times. How did that feel for you? How often do you say things like that to yourself? I heard never, certainly not often enough. We need to remember how powerful we are, how creative we are, how supported by the universe we are. Nothing can stop us but what's between our ears, okay? So anytime you're having self-doubt, anytime you're not sure, connect back with that self, the future self, the true self. You can have whatever you decide you can have. Decide what you want, decide why you want it. The how will work itself out. Any questions for me? Because I got my 1-minute mark. Anybody have any questions or comments? The last thing I want to share with you is that, again, I am a coach. This is what I do for a living. I have as a gift for you, if you are interested, a complimentary session with me. All you need to do to take advantage of that gift is either see my friend Marissa in the back. She has a schedule that you can either sign up on or you can give her a business card with the word session written on it, and I will contact you. It's completely no obligation. Am I going to tell you about my coaching? Of course I am. It's what I do. And it could be something very valuable to you, but you will get value from that session regardless. So please take advantage of that if that's of any interest to you, to learn more about what you're really trying to accomplish. I think that was it. I would love to speak with any and all of you further. Oh, and please leave feedback. I know Linda has her feedback forms. Certainly feel free to contact me directly if you have any feedback. My cards are also in the back. Love feedback.